welcome back to my channel. My name is Keh-me and you are watching Milano Doll on YouTube. Now this is a long awaited video, literally like 3 months. I think it was even more than 3 months because it's a life update. This year when I started posting back up again, I didn't actually post anything in relation to like a life update. I literally just started getting into videos and then I disappeared again for 3 months, which I'm sure everybody knows why. I was an A-level student. I can say it was now on my days. A-levels are done. I was an A-level student. I was busy all the time. But yeah, I wanted to give you guys a proper full life update about what exactly happened from the minute I posted the do the bmat with me, that whole little day in the life video. I wanted to give you guys a full proper update because I didn't say anything ever again about my medicine application and like what's happening to me in terms of university this year and getting into medical school in general and like literally where my life has gone. It's honestly so ironic because in that bmat video I spoke about how I wanted to take you guys on the journey as I am going through everything in year 13 with me as it pertains to my medical application, but I didn't do that, and that's because I didn't realize how hard it would be to actually show everything that's happening as it's happening in real time and post it, especially because it didn't go well. The main reason why I said in that video, oh my gosh, I feel like nobody shows what's happening in real time. I'm gonna be that medic that shows you exactly what happens in real time. I'm not gonna come up with a story time after everything's happened. It's because I expected things to go the way I wanted them to go. And obviously I had the shock of my life. And you guys will find out everything in this video. Also, by the way, if I'm looking down, I've got notes on my iPad just to keep me on track with this so that I don't start rambling. But we're going to start from November the 3rd. I'm pretty sure November the 3rd was the day that we set our bmat, that day. Now, as you guys know, if you've watched the whole bmat daily vlog, take the bmat with me video, you know that that bmat, or if you even sat the bmat yourself, you know that bmat this year, or should I say last year, 2021, was also trash following 2020, which was also very crap. On the day in my school, which was my exam center, we waited for 2 hours plus before we were able to actually access the sites that you could sit the test on. Admissions test in medicine can be literally the make or break of your application, which is telling by mine. Long story short, I flopped. Everybody said this year that they flopped, but I more than flopped. Guys, I'm going to tell you my scores before I wanted to keep this on the download because it's flipping embarrassing. But do you know what? It's not embarrassing for me anymore because I don't identify with the score. It used to be embarrassing for me because I was like, shit, I'm dumb. But now that's not, I don't feel like that anymore. I don't feel attached to it anymore. I've literally completely gotten over the whole thing. Got for section 1, I got 2.8. For section 2, I got 2.9. And then for the essay, I got 3.5A. The essay was the only thing that seemed to have been patterned. Section 1 and section 2 on the other hand didn't meet up. Mind you, the average score for this year was about 3.9 to about 4.5. I think more people got 4.0 in both sections, something like that. So I was well below average. I knew immediately it was not looking good, bruv. Like it was not looking good. Like, people that know me are gonna watch this video too. So you guys are probably gonna be hearing things about the story that you probably don't even know because I kept a lot to myself. I felt as though there was no one that could relate to me because no one got what I got. So on the day of the results day, I got to school really, really early for some reason. Not really, really early, but like 8:20. I usually get to school at like 8:30. So earlier than usual. Nobody was informed like that. I thought, you know what? Let me just open my results. I opened them. And I saw I saw the grades, 2.8, 2.9, 3.5A. And I said, hold on, no. I said no. I blocked it out of my brain and I pretended as though I didn't see it. People were coming into forum and people were like, oh my gosh, be my results today. People were opening their scores and seeing what they got. Everyone was asking me, have you opened? Have you opened? I lied and said no. I hadn't processed it in my brain. As soon as I saw it, I blocked it. I shut it down because I was like, no. If I process it, I'm going to break down. Do you know, like, I'm going to break down in this school and ain't no way, like, sorry. Do you know what? There's nothing wrong with breaking down in school. I'm just not that type of person anymore, especially not in my 6th form. It's not somewhere that I'm 100% comfortable to just be walking around crying. That's not my vibe in that school anyways. It was a thing where I was like, no. In the reality I just shaped for myself on that day, I could almost go about as though I didn't see what I got. And when people were asking me, I lied. I literally was like, no, I didn't see my results because I'm like, I haven't even processed it. I'm not about to start telling you lot what I got. I left school that day because I was like, no, I literally cannot be here because my brain is going through so much. I'm battling knowing what I got versus is that what I really got, because I literally shaped a whole new reality for myself that day. So I leave school. Literally after period 1, I left school and I went to my mum's workplace. minute I left school, I was crying, like unbelievable amount of tears. I was crying, like literally I was on the train bawling because I knew what was coming. I knew that I wasn't getting in. I knew I wasn't getting in with those schools. Forget mitigating circumstances and all that special consideration. With medicine, it is so cutthroat. Like, you need to be on your A game because there are people that will do so extremely well with the same conditions that you have. Mitigating circumstances and special consideration, it does nothing. I was so angry with God, guys. I have never been in that situation where I felt as though God had let me down so much. Like, if you guys don't already know, I'm a Christian. I know God has a plan for me and I know that medicine is the plan. So for me to see that things weren't going right, I was like, hold on, what actually is going on? Like, I couldn't believe what was happening. And I feel like that is when my mental health peaked at its worst. To give you guys more of an insight into my mental health, from September to January, there were so many different health changes that I went through that I didn't even realize was because of stress or mental health at all. For example, I started having really, really bad back pain, but more so like pelvic pain. It was very weird and I'd never suffered with that before. I also got urgent bladder a lot. I couldn't hold my wee. The muscles in my bladder were so weak, or my pelvic floor, I guess. I remember one day actually researching it and it said pelvic pain and urgent bladder are signs of depression/anxiety. Now, I wouldn't say I was depressed. I wasn't struggling to like do the many things like getting out of bed. I didn't want to just sit in bed all day and I didn't want to just not even want to brush my teeth or things like that. But I guess I was one step close to that, if that makes sense. I was one step close to just not wanting to do anything. So whatever it is that you go through before you're actually depressed is where I was at. I would say I was more anxious just because there was so much that I had no control over. So that's like a little insight into my mental health and like what I was experiencing health-wise during that whole entire time. I only really realized it once February came around and I stopped experiencing those things and I was like, oh, that's suspicious. Anyways, that gives you guys an understanding of what I went through after the whole bmat thing. After finding out my bmat scores, inevitably, the rejection started rolling in. My first rejection was from my dream at medical school, Imperial College. They rejected me December the 16th. The thing is, what even made it worse, not worse, but like what made me get over that rejection more better than I ever would have, was the fact that they didn't change their cutoff score from 2021 entry. And that to me was nuts because the average for 2022 entry was so low compared to the average for 2021 entry. And so even if I got within the average that everyone else got, I still wouldn't have gotten into Imperial. And that made me feel like it was inevitable that I was never going to get into this school anyways. Then the next rejection I got was from Brighton and Sussex Medical School. And that one didn't really touch me like that either. To be honest, no rejection made me cry. It's so bad for me to say, but all my emotions were released from me. November the 26th, when we found out our results, I had cried out for everything. I'd cried for rejections, cried for the poor results, cried for not going to uni that year, whatever the case may be. I had cried for it all. So by the time the rejections were coming, I didn't feel the pain as much as one would. And also, Brighton and Sussex was not really a medical school I wanted to go to. With Brighton and Sussex Medical School, they even upped their cutoff score. Like, when I was seeing these things with cutoff scores and bmat, I just knew I was not going to get into the medical school through this admission cycle, inevitably. Brighton and Sussex Medical School, instead, they rejected me from medicine, but then they offered me a different course, which was medical neuroscience, and I accepted that. I just said yes to it. I didn't really know what I was planning on doing at that time. I didn't know if I wanted to take a degree, do postgrad, or take a gap year. I wasn't sure with what I was doing at that moment in time. And then the next rejection I got was from Lancaster Medical School. That one shocked me because I was like, okay, that's how I know special consideration does shit. Like, it literally doesn't do anything for you. They have an overall score, including your language, not your language, but like your essay scores, of like 8 point something from 2021 entry. And like, I thought, okay, if you add mitigating circumstances, special consideration, hopefully I'll be around there, like hopefully. But that wasn't the case either. So I was like, okay, yeah, this is not happening. And then the last rejection was Leeds. So I got all my rejections. Everything was like set in stone for me. I started to think about my next steps and things like that. When I started to get rejected from every single medical school, I actually started to feel a bit alone because no one was talking about being rejected. So many people got rejected from medicine this year, whether you did well in your bmat or not. I'm hearing about people, even with UCAT, I'm hearing about people that literally did so well exceedingly great predicted grades. Like, you have no flaws, but you got rejected. That's literally just because of oversubscription with the whole COVID and so many people getting the grades that you wouldn't expect them to get. So medicine is literally just so oversubscribed that cut-off scores were staying the same or getting higher to limit the amount of people that would actually get through to interview. And then interview was even harder to pass as well. So a lot of people didn't get into medicine this year. Eventually I started to talk to people, and a lot of people started to open up about their rejections. I know so many people that got no offers as well, and that were in the same boat as me. So it started to feel less scary and more like, okay, this is just what happens. And I started to hear more about people that reapplied to medical school, and a lot of people were saying that it is lucky to get in first time and it is more normal to have to do it again. And so I started to get, you know, more familiar and more like okay with the fact that I was probably most likely going to take a gap year. At this time, we're going to say we're in March, around March, February, I was debating whether I wanted to take the medical neuroscience offer over doing a gap year. Eventually I decided I was going to take a gap year, so that's what I'm doing now, guys. I'm taking a gap year, and the reason why I chose to do this was because I thought it is a scam, because what they were doing was a guaranteed interview scheme where you, to do this degree for a year, you apply again to BSMS, you do everything that you need to do, provided you get the grades that you need or the scores that you need, you are guaranteed an interview, and you can change into BSMS from either University of Brighton or University of Sussex for the next year. And to me, I thought it was a scam, because I was like, why am I going to spend 1 year, spend 9.25k just to do a year of a degree that I don't want, pay for accommodation, do all of those things, pay for all of those things, and I don't even want to do that degree? Do you know what I mean? I just thought, do you know what, I can stay at home for free. I don't have to be £9,000 plus in debt for a year that literally granted me nothing, and I can stay at home, work, make money, make the 9,000k. Do you know what I mean? And I just felt like I would gain so much more from being in my own space at home and applying to medicine that way. It's almost like year 13 all over again. Like, I didn't want to go through that, so I chose to take a gap year. At first I didn't like that idea, but then I started to realize it was actually much more of a blessing than a curse, because there's so much that a gap year is going to grant me. I have so much planned. I don't want to speak too much just because evil eye, like, just want to cover myself with the blood of Jesus, because I'm going to show you guys rather than say anything, because I want it to start before I'm like, yeah, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, and then it doesn't happen. I am so glad that I get to have a year to relax over just 2 months of relaxation after A-levels, and then boom, you're back into the go, study lifestyle. Obviously, it's not full relaxation because you still have to do like UCAT and bmat and stuff like that, but it's different because you're not going to school. Another thing that I started to realize that I actually found very much helpful was the fact that I started to focus on my A-levels very quickly, because obviously I knew I was getting rejected immediately. As soon as I found out in December my rejection from Imperial, I knew all the others were going to reject me too. So from December, it was just me, myself, and my A-levels. Fingers crossed, results day, it pays off in Jesus' name. I'm not accepting bad news anymore. I'm not accepting bad news, and God forbid I won't. It was meant for me to not get into medical school this year. That is what God had in store for me to slow down my life a little bit and reapply and take a different route with my application to medicine. But it's not meant for me to get bad grades in my A-levels. That is something I know for a fact. Just to give you guys more of an insight of the pros that come with me being able to take a gap year without fully outing what I'm planning on doing. I was able to fully focus on my A-levels, like I've already said. I'm able to travel. I'm able to take a breather and relax and just focus on things that make me happy, like YouTube and social media. I can finally take it seriously for a full year, and God knows what can happen for me in this year. I'm so excited. I can also work in hospital for the year and get experience. There's so much that this is going to grant me that I'm so glad that I have an opportunity to experience. So what was once me feeling so disappointed in God and so confused about what path he was taking me on, I literally considered not doing medicine anymore, guys. Like, I was so confused about what was going on. I once had that approach to God, and now I'm now in a place where I've understood that we plan and God laughs. Like, when people say we plan and God laughs, it's not a joke. And I am somebody that I'm organized to the point where organization and planning is my coping mechanism. This whole thing has made me realize my only coping mechanism should be God, and I feel like God used this for me to understand that. Guys, I can literally ramble on so much. I'm not going to talk too much because I don't want this video to be too long, but essentially I understood the nature of God. Yeah, that that is actually the life update. I'm not going to study medicine this year. I got 4 rejections. I booked my UCAT. If you took the UCAT, let me know how you studied for it, because at the moment I'm honestly considering getting a tutor over taking a course, because I feel as though I need a human being that's going to get me through it. Like, I don't want to rely on videos and all these things there. Like, I need somebody that I can talk to. But you lot let me know what you think I should do, whether that's just me doing too much. And also let me know if you've had 4 rejections as well. Let me know what you're doing, whether you're going on to do an undergrad then postgrad med, or if you're also taking a gap year, or if you're going to Bulgaria, because I know a lot of people are thinking about going to Bulgaria. A-levels are done now and I can finally focus on me. With that being said, if you guys liked this video and you're new here, I guess you can subscribe if you want to see what's coming for me, and if you just want to follow the journey. And yeah, I guess I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.